MyCore is on a mission to be the world's most people-centric company. The purpose of this podcast is to get to the core of people. I'm your host, Nathan Bourne, and I invite you to join me as we deep dive into the personal and professional lives of our guests. We're going to learn who they are, why they exist, and what they do. We're going to hear their stories, the good, the bad, and the ugly. In other words, we're going to talk to some really cool people. Welcome to the MyCore podcast. Hello. Welcome to the MyCore podcast. This is your host, Nathan Bourne, and I'm super excited to be with the lovely Erin Pohan. Hey, Erin.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you today?
So good in cloudy, kind of cold, kind of not Seattle.
So this is crazy because I live in Florida. My studio is in Jacksonville, Florida, and I too am in Washington. And you and I are not doing this in person. This is crazy.
We're not doing it in person, and somehow I've seen you like 4 times this year.
I know, right? It is wild because we met originally in Scottsdale, Arizona, and that was what, April?
Yep.
So yeah, it's really only been like 6 months since we met, but I've seen you like 6 times in the last 6 months. I'm not stalking you, I promise.
Same, just for clarification.
Right. I guess it could be either way. But yeah, I interestingly enough am looking out the window at a very sunny, beautiful landscape. But I've been in the Pacific Northwest a bunch of times. We're going to talk about the MyCore Collective event that you're going to be rocking the stage. We're going to talk about your story. We're going to talk about the conference that you felt led and compelled to kick off, and how that's just like taking shape and rocking and rolling, and God's blessing it. And we're going to talk about all the things today. I'm super excited to have you on the MyCore podcast.
Same.
Yeah. So anyway, it's apparently cloudy here all the time and rainy, but I've been getting sunshine since I've been visiting. But you're not from here. You're from Cleveland, right?
I am from Cleveland, Ohio. That is accurate.
What led you here?
Oh, okay. So we're getting into it.
Let's go.
Right?
Yeah, let's get right into your story. No small talk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a little bit before Cleveland that happened, but I spent the majority of my life in Cleveland up until age 16, which then became a pivotal moment in my life when I left Cleveland. But because I spent the majority of my life, I still have friends and family there. When people ask me where I'm from, it's from Cleveland.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I have a similar situation like that where I lived in a handful of places, but my family has been in Ocean City, Maryland since 2002, and that was like the most kind of pivotal time in my life. And then, now that it's been 23 plus years that they've been there, and I just sort of identify with being from there, but there's always a story behind the story,
Oh yeah. Or stories behind the stories. Yep.
And did you move? Were you a military child? What led to some of the moving?
Definitely not military until I met my husband.
That's
so
right.
So we're a military family now. However, growing up, I was not. I was the product of 2 teenagers who had me very young. So, which ended up being the product of a single teenage mom. And so,
Wow.
Born in northern Miami. I'm sorry. Actually, I was born in Connecticut, but moved to Miami, Hollywood, Florida, for the first almost 5 years of my life.
Man, I remember talking about this with you in Denver, just sort of impromptu when we sat out there, kind of peeled away from the event a little bit, and I was like, Erin, this is an amazing story. Like, we have to share this, and it's your story, right? So I have to always tread lightly, and I want to be respectful of what you are able and willing. And when you say teenage, like, how young?
So my mom was 16, almost 17 when she had me. And so she had actually been in Connecticut with my dad, and found out she was pregnant. When she found out she was pregnant, he had already moved down to Florida to live with his mom and stepdad, who just so happened to be a like drug lord in Miami, living in a sweet penthouse. And so my mom went and lived with them. And
Wow.
when he found out that she was pregnant, he basically gave her an ultimatum. He said, "Here's the money, go take care of this, or you're kicked out. You can't live here." And so she slept on a park bench for 2 weeks until another family member caught wind of it and took her in. So, yeah, I
Wow.
mean, when I say that story, it's like this close to not being here, you know? Like my story may not have existed. I mean, I still sometimes sit here and think, how did she not take the easy route? You know?
Wow. So at 16 years old, with all the cards stacked against her, she chose life, and that life is you.
Yeah. Yep. She chose sleeping on a park bench for a few weeks as a 16-year-old. I
A
can't
pregnant
even
16-year-old.
imagine. Yeah. And so, yeah, but
Are your
you
parents
know,
alive today?
yeah. So I am very close with my mom. She has since remarried twice, and she's been with her husband now, who is like my dad, for over 20 years. And my dad and I don't have a relationship, so it's been attempted a few times, and it's just not there.
So you have met him. It's just not a sustainable thing to do.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So I mean, my earliest memories of childhood, I have a few really great memories um of being his daughter. But most of the memories are related to drugs, binges, him disappearing, people pulling up in Lamborghinis, shooting our windows out in our apartment because he owed them money. Um, Women coming to the door looking for him because he was hitting on their girlfriends and they wanted to beat him up. And, and ultimately, him abusing my mom. Like, I have a very core, solid memory of that. And that was really something that was really hard to go through in that moment. And I can still feel the tenseness. Have you ever seen like those MLB pileups? Like when there's a fight at an
Yep.
MLB game?
Yep.
That
Yep.
was like a family barbecue where he started abusing my
Dang.
mom and the whole family jumped
Everybody
in.
brawling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, Erin. So how long did they attempt to stay together, or how long did your mom tolerate this or try to think he would get better, or in some cases grow up, because he too was a teenager when they got pregnant, right? So it wasn't like he
Yeah.
had a great start either, not to give him a whole lot of leeway,
Yeah.
but just he was a kid around, he lived what he learned, right? He saw gangbangers and drug, lords, and then just became a product of that.
Yeah. So my mom finally left just before I turned 5. So that's what brought us to Cleveland. My grandma and my aunt were already living there, so my mom came to live with them and make her own way, which she did. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So she was 21 with a 5-year-old.
Yeah, it's so wild to think about.
Right. And then, but you remember, it's amazing how you can do that, right? Like I have vivid memories of things that I'm like, wait, when was that? And I'm like, that must have been like 2 or 3. So
Hmm.
I totally, especially if it's traumatic, if it's not just
Yeah,
like a normal, oh, I remember daycare and I remember the cul-de-sac I was, it's like, no, I remember the family brawl when I was 4 or 5 years old.
yep. It's like I remember that. I remember sitting on a beach at night eating pizza. I remember like drinking beer for the first time because my dad had it out when I was like just hanging out and he was working on a car. I remember I do have a core memory, and this sticks with me. of him and his brothers playing the conga drums in the living rooms until like 2 or 3 in the morning. And I think that like has been the rhythm of my life, just the happiness of just like having music and
Wow.
just I don't know. I hear like drums and beats and it just like brings me back to like a time where life was good.
Man, it's so complex, isn't it? Like when you are born into a traumatic, even violent, abusive home, it's not all bad. I think that's the part that's so hard, right? Is that like there's a core almost feeling of like home or connection. I mean, one, biology is an amazingly powerful thing. So the fact that just the sheer fact that he is your biological father connects you, right, in this way that you can't disconnect. It's like when you hear people that were adopted and they later want to find who their biological parents are. You'd think, just based on like nurture versus nature, like why would you need to meet that person, right? I mean, you've had this beautiful life, and I'm saying, other people's stories, obviously.
Yeah.
But yet it's this like missing piece that, I guess God designed it this way, that we were to be made from one another and be ideally connected and cared for and protected. So in those short 5 years, it sounds like there's some good and some bad and some ugly, right? Like,
yeah.
and they're
Yeah,
so
a lot of
formative, right?
good. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
his side of the family was huge. Just a bunch of Puerto Ricans having a good time, playing music, like I said. We lived near the beach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. It is interesting how you can have good despite going through hard things. And that really, I think, has carried through a lot of the events in my life.
And when you say that, do you mean like you've chosen to latch on to the good and find the good in it?
Yeah. So to a point, and maybe a little bit to a detriment,
Mm-hmm.
the brain is so fantastical in the way you can compartmentalize like experiences where you might be
Yep.
going through something really hard, but like you can actually put that away, close it, and like live your life. And so I would say the majority of my elementary through teenage years, that was me. I was just living in this very compartmentalized, like I had the best childhood, like the best friends. I mean, the best memories.
Mm.
But, by that point, my mom had found someone else and remarried. And I was experiencing abuse in that house from that
Mm.
person. And so I was able to compartmentalize that piece
Wow.
and still have the best childhood with. I don't know if you've ever heard of the movie Now and Then. It's like four
It's one of
girls
my
growing
favorite
up.
movies, actually. Yeah.
It is my favorite movie,
Yeah.
and that was me and my best friends. So
Really?
we were either that or the Spice Girls,
They
depending
had
on
like
the
a
day.
tree house, right? Wasn't there like a
Yep.
tree house? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
remember that. I'm 36, but I have, I'm one of 9 children. So I have 3 older siblings. I'm the 4th, and 5 younger siblings. So I culturally can span like these. It's kind of interesting. My oldest brother is a Gen Xer. I'm a millennial, and several of my siblings are, and then we have Gen Z. So we really are in like 3 categories of
Yeah.
generations.
Yeah.
So if it's like something from the 90s, like Friends or Saved by the Bell or Dave Matthews Band, I'm like, yep, know all about it. Or that movie Now and Then. And then if it's like TikTok and something that, over the last few years has become, I'm like, yep, I know that too. So I remember that movie. I can remember watching it on VHS. It's a great movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
it sure is.
So it's
Yeah.
the girl
So
from Casper.
sure is
Yeah.
Christina Ricci. Yep. I wanted to grow up and be her,
You kind of
basically.
resemble
So
her, so that's fitting.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she's super rad.
Yeah.
So wow, so you're saying you're born into this very unique situation where for the first 5 years of your life, and I'm not a psychologist or psychiatrist, but I know enough to know that those years are so formative, right? That we like kind of become in many ways who we are in those early childhood stages. Then your mom gets out of Dodge, so to speak, from that. But you live what you learn, and you tend to repeat certain patterns. So she got into a relationship that was maybe better, but had a different dose of problems. And sounds like you, without going into the details, like had to take the brunt of that, and yet still you kind of managed to find friend groups and be involved in school. And this was all in Cleveland, I'm assuming.
Yep. Yep. In Cleveland. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she was a single mom for a bit and then remarried. And yeah, she had her and her husband at that time had my sister. And so, very similar to you, me and my sister are 9 years apart. And then when my mom remarried, after that first marriage dissolved, they divorced, and he ended up becoming an alcoholic, which led to that divorce. And then he eventually passed away from it. So,
Wow.
so
Are you close with your sister today? Or
yes,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, she's one of my best friends. So yeah,
she's lost her biological father.
she
You
did.
have essentially no contact, no relationship with yours. So you have this probably interesting bond between the two of you as both sharing the same biological mother and not having your father.
Yeah, sometimes I have to remind myself that we don't have the same dad because we're sisters. There's none
Right.
of this half sister. We are
Yeah, we need
sisters.
to get a better term for that, right? Like
Yeah,
half. It's like sounds like that's crazy.
yeah. I mean, she is part of me, and she's part
Right.
of my story. So, yeah. And my mom ended up remarrying when I was in middle school. And she is still with her husband to
Cool.
this day. He is my dad.
Yeah.
He is incredible. And they had my brother, who is
So say, did
18
they have
years
more children?
younger. Yeah.
Wow.
So he's in college right now. He's my baby. In fact, when I met my husband, Alec, I tried to litmus test him, like say, hey, this is my child. Like, how do you feel about that? But he knew I was just messing.
That's awesome.
But it's funny because I'm actually closer in age to my mom than I am closer in age to my brother.
Man, that's amazing. I didn't figure that out in our family until recently too, and I went, "Oh my gosh, my brother Josh is 43. My mom is 62. So there's 19 years between them." And yeah, 19 years. She was 18 and then had him when she was 9. My parents got married 18 and 19. And then my youngest brother's 22. So there's 21 years between the two of them. And even really my other brother is closer because they're Irish twins. He's 42. So it is kind of crazy how you can be closer in age to your parents than you can your siblings. It's like,
Yeah.
that's just wild. You have almost more in common. Like you connect more again, like culturally, it's that's really neat.
Yeah,
So
especially as you get older too. It's like me and my mom, like last November when I was in Vegas for Intuit Connect, like her and her husband came and met me down in Vegas. And I was like, never in my teenage years would I have been excited or thought I'd be partying with my parents in Vegas. And it was a great time.
that's so cool. Yeah, it does kind of equal out there eventually, right? I don't know the exact age. Maybe it's 30 or you're like, all right, we're all just kind of old
Yes.
now. We're all tired. We all have bills. We all have kids, like
Yeah.
we're all going through it. So man, in your life, it sounds like you and I have this in common because I experienced a lot of challenges, trauma, bunch of good stuff. Save that for another day. But I was particularly good at bearing it, compartmentalizing it, even finding the good in it. And I was doing pretty well there for a while, like actually flourishing. And then it like just all hit me all at once about 10 years ago. And yeah, it was 2015. It was exactly 10 years ago. So to not go into my story too much, I want to keep the focus on your story, but it came crashing down like all at once in a wave, and I like, it damn near killed me. Like it almost knocked me out. And I subscribed to and sort of operated under this like toxic positivity prior to that moment. And that wasn't sustainable, for obvious reasons. It didn't sustain. Is that similar to you? Like, did you find the good and were hunky-dory and like kind of build an identity around it? And then did you ever have a moment where you hit a wall?
So I essentially just deleted it from my mind. And it was not deleted, right? It was just pushed to the back. So like
Body
so
keeps score,
many,
right?
yeah. And so many of my like young adult decisions were based off of trying to use my brain and forget that that existed, but it was absolutely affecting all of my decisions. And so I would say it wasn't until I met my now husband. And first of all, he was Christian, and I was like, oh no, thank you.
Yeah,
Like,
I want to deal
not
with that.
interested. Yeah. Which was so funny because I even tried to use that as a scapegoat to like break up with him during our dating, like, oh, he's too religious,
Yeah,
and it
holy
was like
roller
so far
vomit.
from truth. It was like a mirror. I was holding a mirror up to myself, and I didn't want to look in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't, because I had done so good at hiding from my truths and dealing with what went, with what affected me throughout my life. And so when I realized he wanted to be serious about me, I was like, oh, I need to like deal with myself.
Deal with this
Like,
shit.
like
Yeah.
if this is going to be real,
Mm.
like I should probably like start dealing with all of the things I've been hiding. And so when we were like, maybe before we were engaged, I don't even know, I started going to therapy. And so I was seeing a counselor, and that was really helpful. It wasn't. There was things where she was like, okay, now I want you to scream into the punching bag. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
feels really awkward. But
Totally.
and it didn't work, but it helped me to start having the conversations that I needed to have. Like saying things out loud, because if you say it out loud, then it's like, okay, it's in existence. And so, and I had shared with Alec, my husband, while we were dating, all this heavy stuff. And like, I had not shared that with anyone.
Wow.
And so, like, not even my family. So,
Right.
it helped me to also have those conversations with my family at the right times. And just helped me to kind of like process what happened each time I spoke about it. And I remember there was this one time, after getting married, I went to like this women's group, and we were like, okay, we're all gonna share like these deep things, and I got up and I stood up in front of this group of women. There was probably like, no joke, 40 women in that room, like ages 19 to 99. And I started to try and share my story. And I just broke down. Like, just like, like that deep soul cry that like no one else is supposed to see. Like, like it happened in that moment. And for me in that moment, I felt God say like, hey, just so you know, like all those times that you thought you were alone, that those bad things were happening to you, you weren't alone. I was holding you, and I was crying right there with you. And so like that was in me doing that and sharing. I thought, oh man, I wasn't ready to share, but no, like I was right where I was supposed to be. And I received the message that I was supposed to receive because I was right where I was supposed to be. So,
Wow. Yeah, those moments are brutally beautiful, beautifully brutal.
Yeah.
I've had um I've had a handful of those, and they're like, I mean, it's kind of like a wave or a flood or something. Like it's like you can't stop it. Like you're like you've already tried to keep it at bay. You've already tried to
Hmm.
operate without the breakdown, and it's like a release valve or a combustion. It's like a bottleneck. Like it just has to. It finds its way out. You know what I mean? Like and
Yeah.
I think when the context is set, particularly if you're in an environment where there's prayer and intercession and the Holy Spirit's there, and it's like, you know, that that sounds like it was a like defining moment for you where you like let go, had this sort of like drop, release, breakdown. When
Yeah.
was that?
Oh, I mean, 15 years ago now. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, it was really hard. And I remember when we first got married and we were first like in church, like I had all of this bitterness, like, oh, all these people who grew up in church, they have no idea what it's like. Like and like I look back and everyone has struggles. And if you don't have struggles, you will have struggles. Like there's no escaping it. Um,
Yeah, it's one of the
but
promises God made us, right? Like, I love that verse. Take heart, I've overcome the world. It's like
yeah,
putting it into context and like recognizing that. I mean, for me, one of the most humbling parts of my faith is that it's not just universal. Like, I think sometimes it can be like there's layers, right? Like, there's levels to this stuff. And like, you could get to a stage in faith where you believe that, like, okay, there is a God and he created all these things and it's all working in unison with one another, from the way the ocean's tide is, not creating a tsunami for us, to like the way that we stay safe. And obviously there's death and there's pain and there's suffering and there's disease,
yeah.
and
But there's comfort.
there's
Like
comfort in it. Yeah.
yeah. Like
And it's
there's
custom. It's like
comfort.
individual. Like it's
Yeah,
like he loves you, Aaron. You know what I mean? He loves
yeah,
me, Nathan. And
yeah,
I had a friend who's a real strong believer say it this way, that like it was almost the difference between like God, like, in like a relationship, like you and Alec, it's like it's one thing to love a person, but it's really cool when you love them and like them, right? Like,
yeah.
like
For sure.
for
Yeah,
sure, like there's
yeah,
people that I love that I don't particularly like,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
so like it's
yeah.
almost,
Like if we're like not getting along, I'll be like, I don't like you right now.
yeah, right,
And it's like
right,
so hurtful.
yeah. It's almost fluid. Like love might be the constant, but like is more variable. It's like, I don't like you
Yeah,
today, but don't worry, I'll like you tomorrow. But it's like God
yeah,
actually likes us. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
he doesn't just love us and love us unconditionally. Like he wants to hang out with us. You know what I mean? He wants to like, and the only thing I can liken that to would be being a parent. Like I like my children. I don't always like them, and sometimes I'm like, I could freaking strangle you right now, but I'm not
yeah.
perfect.
My son called me a show off the other day, and it hurt my feelings so bad. And I
That's
actually didn't
painful.
post an Instagram story because I was like, now I'm a show off. Yeah,
Yeah, right. How old is he?
10.
Yeah, well, that just makes sense. I
Yeah.
have a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 7 and 3, and I am just holding on to every moment with Levi because he is so precious and like I can do no wrong. And I'm like, I already, Judah, my 7-year-old, is like Breaking Bad and like creating like little, like
Yeah, I mean that's why we got a
tension.
puppy because we're like 10 and 8. We're not having another, so we'll get a puppy and just kind of
Right.
fill that void. But yeah, I mean we're headed into the teenage years with them in a few years, and I pray they're nothing like I was as a teenager. And that's like getting back to what I was saying, like compartmentalizing. And so like when I hit my teenage years, I was really good at not being truthful to my
Mm,
parents, to my mom specifically, because why would I be truthful when I already have big dark secrets, that
right.
are not my fault, but I still have to carry. And so, yeah, that was really, really hard. Like my teenage years with my mom, especially, and her husband now, because he was new in the picture, he was trying to handle a teenage stepdaughter who didn't have any respect for men or herself. And yeah, and then to make matters worse, halfway through high school, so right after sophomore year, we moved from Cleveland to Virginia. And so, new school, I went from knowing every single person in my grade to entering this. I think our graduating class was like 800
Wow.
at this new high school in
Because
Virginia,
it
and
was Northern
everyone,
Virginia?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a
yep. So it was,
populated area.
yeah, like Woodbridge, yep.
Yep.
So,
You know it well.
yeah, and so,
And what year was
that,
that? That was your sophomore year?
yeah, 2002.
Wow. So what year did you graduate high school?
Oh, 04,
All
baby.
right. Before I'm '06. Yeah, we're close. So
Yeah.
you enter high school. Were you rebellious?
Yes, but sneakily.
Okay. So like
Yeah.
you kept it on the
Yeah.
surface, like, but
Yeah.
because you were
Like,
essentially
as
lying.
soon as I graduated high school, my poor parents, I told them I was going camping with my friends in Virginia, and I got into this brand new car, this Ford Escort Sport Edition,
Nice.
blue, that they bought me for my graduation present. And I drove my little self all the way to Ohio to be with my boyfriend who was back in Cleveland and stayed with him for like a week. And on the last day, my mom figured it out and she
Oh
found out
man.
that I was there, and they almost called Grand Theft Auto on me. So,
Wow.
because the car was theirs technically. And so,
They were pissed.
they were pissed. They told me not to come home. And so I didn't come home for a year. And
Really?
so I stayed in Cleveland as an 18-year-old. My aunt took me in. I had to get a job. Surprise, surprise, ended up getting dumped by that boyfriend a couple months in. Um, and so I had to really like survive again. Not just mentally, but like financially, and like
Right.
trying to figure out life out as an 18-year-old. And so it was working well until I wasn't making enough money to support my Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night going out habits. And so when I
Because you
ran
were
out of
partying.
money,
You were a low key party girl at that point.
yeah. And so I ran home when I ran out of money. Luckily, I'm so thankful. Something about those early years, seeing my dad with drugs, um, I've never done drugs.
Right. It just scared the hell out of
I,
you that you were like, nope, I'll
yes.
drink, I'll party, I'll dance, I'll have a good time. I'll be
Yeah.
hungover, but I'm not doing, get that shit away
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah. Like I
Oh,
have
God.
this deep fear that I could be like my dad if I tried.
Mm.
So, so really it was just dancing and like drinking
Yeah,
and
just having a good
like,
time.
yeah.
Well, it's funny because
And
in
yeah.
Scottsdale, it was very like tame, but I know we like there's music and everyone's kind of vibing and like I could tell that I was like, I think Erin likes to have a good time. Like she
Yeah. Yeah. It's
likes to
like,
dance.
well, I'm Puerto Rican. That's the problem.
Right,
So,
it's there.
yeah.
It's there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I try to keep it classy and just, keep it right
Yeah.
here. But that's interesting. So you then, minus a pregnancy, there was a little bit of repeating of history there where you were
Yeah,
a
and
teenager.
absolutely that could have been my story.
Right.
And it wasn't. But yeah, moving to that new high school in Virginia wrecked me. And it wrecked, I thought I was never going to be okay socially. I could not even speak to people.
Wow.
Like, I couldn't form coherent sentences to be like, hey, how are you? Like, I'm new here. Like, for years after, moving to that high school, I could not meet new people. I did not know how to function in social settings. I did not know what to say. I would say a sentence and then say another half of a different sentence to finish it off because I was so in my head. I was so stuck.
Really?
And I was so afraid people were going to judge me and somehow people were going to know my deep, scary things about myself. And so I shut down. Like there was a part of my brain that actually shut down in being able to talk to people, which I'm sure, like, pretty well who I am now. Like
Yeah.
I am a social butterfly.
Social
I am a
butterfly.
networker. I love people. And I think part of the saving grace was meeting my husband and entering the military lifestyle where we had to start over 10 times in all of the different duty stations we've been and find our people and really get to know them. Also just joining different women's groups along the way and just actively taking leadership positions in those to just help. And then by nature, I ended up sharing my voice a lot more and getting more comfortable with that. And now in the accounting industry, I just took an opportunity. I gave myself permission to start sharing my voice. And, that's just opened a lot of opportunities. But I did not know how to speak to people.
Yeah, let's connect some of these dots here. So because your story is amazing. So at age 5, you're in Cleveland. So from 5 to 15, I mean, you had a really significant amount of time. And so that's childhood, like you said, like the now and then type. So these are the bestest of friends. Yeah. And then you're uprooted in the middle of high school, which is a horrible time. I'm sure your parents recognize that. And, I don't obviously know what led to that decision, but it's not an ideal situation to move a child, in high school. And then now you're in this huge school in a totally different part of the country, nobody. And was the 3 years that you had in high school, did you pretty much just keep to yourself? Did you make any friends or did you kind of just get through?
I made a few friends. And I'm so thankful for those people even today. And we don't really keep in contact, but there are a few people who I don't know how I would have gotten through that new school without sitting next to them at lunch. One of them, she was new too. And so I was able to hang out with her and her sister. And I think we're like on Facebook now, but
but you have a bond to them because they probably don't even fully know how impactful it was to you to be a friend.
Yeah. And I had an opportunity to express that to one lady in particular when I started going to the new school. She was just kind to me, and she was like one of the popular girls, and she was just always kind to me, and always like when we were sharing class, she'd be like, yeah, what Erin said. And that helped me more than she knew. And she ended up she's married, and her husband went through like cancer maybe 5 years ago or so. And I saw it and I sent money, and she wrote back and she was like, thank you so much for sending money. Like, that's amazing. I hope you're well. We haven't connected in like 10 years. And I was like, yes. And let me tell you something. And I just shared, how she impacted my life during that time. And so if anyone's listening to this, like if there's someone who has impacted your life, like let them know.
Tell them. Yeah. That's so cool. So then it sounds like even with the boyfriend, you were drawn back to Ohio. So it was sort of maybe even like an effort to reconnect to that familiarity and be around that community and be around that world. And then from age 18 to where you are now a car thief and gone in 60 seconds, when did you meet Alec? How many years were in those like kind of party girl, figuring out what you're going to do when you grow up and who you're going to be and all that?
Yeah, 4 years. So I met him when I was 22.
Cool.
And so, yeah, it was 4 years. I spent the year in Cleveland, 3 years back in Virginia, working my butt off because I worked at a tanning salon, I worked at Walmart, and then I ended up working at this marine shop where I sold my husband his uniform, and that's how we met.
That's right. I remember that story. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I was working a lot to pay my way through college, like one course at a time at the community college. And we met and we dated, and then we did long distance, and then we ended up getting married by like 15 months of knowing each other. So,
Wow, that's
yeah.
so cool. And he's about your same age, right?
Yeah, he's 2 years older.
2 years
So
older.
he's 41, I'm 39. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So about the same age, and then you've been doing life since, which, I mean, what do you've been married almost
15 years.
I was gonna say 15 years,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So we've
amazing.
been married 15 years. We lived in 10 different houses. We've got 2 kids. We had a husky. Now we have a golden retriever. So we keep living this life with lots of different chapters in it together. And
That's cool.
so this chapter is I am the breadwinner. He is the stay-at-home dad,
That's awesome.
and it's freaking amazing.
Is he
It's
retired
really
now
cool.
from the military?
So he did
Or
like almost 13 years active, and
okay.
he's still in the reserves. So
Nope.
he goes to Dallas 1 week in a month, and then he does like a 2 week a year training, and then I get to go to the Marine Corps balls and get all dressed up and have
Oh,
fun. So yeah, so he'll be officially retired from the Marines in a few more years. But other than that, he is retired from corporate life, which is so
that's
good.
awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember chatting a little bit about it at that winery with my brother, my oldest brother. He officially retired last year, and I was humbled and honored to be they call it like the narrator, which is sort of the MC, and it was actually really difficult. Like
I was gonna say it's really fitting. No, it was difficult.
well, I was like, I think I was like the guy for the job kind of thing, because I have some of the skills I've developed around, speaking and presenting and whatever, hosting. But compared to other things that I've done, whether it was keynotes in business or officiating a wedding, I mean, I've done a lot of kind of unique things around speaking. But this, as you know, the Marine Corps is really like ceremonial. Like they have a lot of rituals and customs, and which is beautiful and it's epic. It's like way cool. But he sent me
Super
all the
motivating.
it's like, so he sent me all the like material, and I thought I thought they were like songs that they were gonna play, were like I'm like, oh shoot, I have to read this off. So like I'm reading like freaking like minutes of like kind of poetry,
From the
creed.
halls of Tun Tavern in Philadelphia in 1776,
Yes,
born a Marine Corps.
yes. Like, and I'm like, so it was hilarious because I had not been able to prepare as much as I wanted to, and I had prepared the parts that I thought I was speaking, and then I get there and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And he's like, I'm like, cool. So like, you have like some audio for this? He's like, no, you have to read those. I was like, crap. We're like starting in like 5. I'm like trying to read it, and I'll tell you this one quick story. So my actually 3 of my 4 children living in the Annapolis area went to this preschool, was like through the church, called Anchors a Wee, right? Anchors a Wee. So
Oh my God. How cute.
right. So it was, connected to the culture of the Naval Academy there. And I'm like reading this thing, and I'm supposed to say anchors away. But because I'm used to their t-shirts and picking them up, I said anchors a wee.
Yes.
And like, I didn't
So
realize I
good.
said it. Like other people were like, did you realize you said anchors a wee? I was like, no, I didn't. I was
You're
like,
in a room with a bunch of Marines too. I bet they were dying
they were
inside.
dying. Yeah. And I said it with like such and like moxie, like I'm like anchors a wee, or whatever that line was. I was like, I need a beer. Like this is, so it was an honor, but it was definitely like work. Like I felt like
Yeah.
I don't want to screw this up. This is 22 years of service, 2 tours to Iraq, 50 times in Africa, and even like we rattled off like all the things that he had done in those 22 years and the loss, and it was just like, man, my brother's a badass, you know. So I'm sure you feel the same way about Alec. Like when you look at that military career, you're like, dude, this is like serious stuff that is major sacrifice, and it obviously takes its toll on the family. So thank you for your service, and of course, thank you to him.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. The Marine Corps
And your
ball. I've always
brother.
seen pictures of that. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. I want to talk to you about, I want to see if we can connect these two things. So you have this, and I know it's just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like as far as the upbringing, being born to a teen mom and dad, and then all the like journey up to call it adulthood, young adulthood. You're 18 years old. Fill me in, like, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, like when did you start getting into the accounting and bookkeeping industry? What sparked that? Like, and then how is this informing? Because I'm a big believer, right, that um we ought to lead with who we are, right? That should be the main event, that it's like an identity, more than even a purpose, and certainly more than like what we do. I talk about this a lot, and at the My Core Collective in like literally 3 weeks. It's exciting. In 3 weeks from right now, we will be in Eugene, Oregon, like probably on our lunch break or about to about to take it on day one. So I love looking backwards and finding these threads and finding these through lines. So help me, let's tease that out a little bit. Like how and when and why and who got you involved in the industry that you're in now?
So first, I always had the entrepreneurial spirit. I took an entrepreneurship class at that high school in Virginia, and I
Cool.
freaking rocked it.
Nice.
So we had to like create this product. You'll appreciate this. Our like big class assignment was we got into groups of like 2 or 3 people, and of course I took on all the work because I was so excited about it. But we had to create a product and market it and share with the class and like design it and everything. And so I created Axe before Axe was an actual product.
That's
So
amazing.
it was, yeah. So we called it Men's Athletic Cleanser,
Nice.
and it was MAC for short. And like we designed the product to be grippy so it wouldn't slip in the shower,
So good.
And the commercial was like a man putting it on before a hot date, and it was like, get your Mac on.
Right.
It was
Mac
so
Daddy.
good. It was,
That's
yes,
totally
it was
good.
so good, and it was so fun, and I loved it. And so from that class I thought, oh, I'm a marketer.
Right.
Like I need to go into marketing. And so I really wanted to do marketing. I also really wanted to be Erin Andrews before there was an Erin Andrews.
Right.
I've always loved football. I'm a huge Cleveland Browns fan, and I
I've
thought it'd be
seen that.
so fun to be like
Yeah.
a game caster. So shout out to her because she just kills it.
Yeah.
And
He's a beast.
yeah. And so I actually started going to school for marketing, and one of the prereqs was accounting. And so I took accounting 101, and then I was like the only one in my class who actually loved what I was doing. And so I pivoted at that moment to accounting because it just made sense to me. I was also in this place where I felt like I needed a more stable, like career trajectory. This was after my wild year in Cleveland, and I was coming back, and I needed to be a professional and responsible. And, I had the older child syndrome where, my parents were constantly reminding me I was the one my siblings were looking up to. And so I went into accounting, and, for a long time, played the role of an accountant. Like the first CPA firm I worked at, I wore stockings and very professional. And I didn't like that. I didn't like feeling like I would never have a voice because I was just a cog in the wheel of bookkeeping or tax prep. And so, but what I did like was the moments that I got to work on this cyclical basis with the bookkeeping clients. And I liked building this relationship where when we lived in Yuma, Arizona, this business owner named Aaron, would come in
Hey,
every
Aaron.
Friday
That sounds
and drop off his payroll information. And like I built this relationship where he'd come drop it off, and I talked him into buying the office pizza. And like we had all these jokes, and then I loved that personal relationship building with the client piece, and not just like sitting at a computer and doing the work. And so that kind of carried along with me for other roles, and I found myself continuing to like the parts of my job where I was interacting with the clients and getting to know them, and being able to talk to them about life. It made my job more fun.
You've always
So
been people centric, it sounds like. That's
yeah, I think what it comes down to is I love people,
yeah.
and I want to know people. I want to know as many people as I can. And that might, on the outside, seem a little surface level. Like you can't go deep with
Right.
a million people, but you can be a source of light to a million people.
Yeah.
So, I just really love people.
Yeah. And I knew that the moment I met you. I mean, when Christina, you and I had chatted there, I think we were getting coffee one of the mornings in Scottsdazzle. I can remember just the genuine nature, your authenticity. Like you can kind of tell when people are genuinely interested in people or just sort of going through the motions. And I think that connection was made because you're a people person, I'm a people person. We were around people, and
Yeah,
it
that's so
was
true. That was really a place for people
mhm,
to get to know each other. And I mean, look at all the opportunities that have come out of a place where people get together. Like all of the collaborations. But I mean, to your point, like even this podcast, like you being so curious about people and like who they actually are, getting to the core of who people are, like that's such a gift to be able to do that and to push past the skin deep conversations.
well, thank you. It's been humbling. I mean, in preparation for our event, which I want to talk a little bit about too, because I think it'll be good to give people a little prequel on your topic and just the way that it's been coming together. I mean, just this morning we had our bi-weekly speaker summit, so it's probably super fresh on my mind,
Yeah.
and I'm sure on yours as well. Just seeing this group of speakers, this collective, as we're calling it, congeal and do it remotely. Like a lot of these people have never met each other in person, and the general consensus that I'm hearing, the general feedback that I'm hearing from the speakers are like that they can't wait to meet each other. They can't wait to spend
Yeah.
a few days together. And it's a sort of interesting approach where I don't know, I just sort of had like a vision for it. I don't have any formal background in this, and it's the first of its kind. Like your event, which I want to talk about too. I don't know, I felt like this divine download, like a calling, or like, hey, do this. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Like when I think about my 36 years on the planet, almost 37, there is not a window of 3 to 4 months that could be worse than right now. And yet God's showing up, things are being like coming together, people are pulling together, and it's truly humbling. Like I fancy myself a pretty confident person, but this is like a vulnerable moment in my life. And without going into all the details, it's just, some things, but like, it's just like, it's not the right time. And I think that's so interesting in life, where a lot of our breakthroughs, whether it's in business, it's in our leadership, it's in our faith, it's in like our, just capability, it's often in like the most inopportune times that we just push through, and for me as a Christian, it's like this reminder that like it's not your own strength, like it's something greater than you. And in this, specifically, it's my relationship with God, it's Jesus, it's the Holy Spirit, it's the triune, that Trinity, like I can't quite put it into words, but like that is like a team. You know what I mean? Like I have like these 3 entities that just like go to war for me on a regular basis and protect me and shield me up. And that's not unique to me, obviously, right? I just try to lean into that. And that's how I'm feeling in this season of life, where I'm like, man, these things are coming together. And then like a very close second to that is the team, like my team that I've built, my core team, pun intended, my core team, but also my core team. And then now that's like expanding into this other sort of cohort of people that have each other's back and that are like locked in. And you've been just integral in that. And it's like nobody highly incentivized you. In other words, it's not like you were paid to do it. And no one, I don't think, put a gun to your head or threatened you and said, you better promote it to the best of your
ability. Yet.
right, exactly. So there's this sort of like organic nature to the way that this event is coming together, and it's really exciting. I mean, we've already secured the dates and the location for the next event, and then I'm excited about these parallels between what you've done with your conference, Wave. You can maybe share with our listeners a little bit about that and promote that, and then what we're doing with My Core Collective. It's just, I don't know, it's a little bit too like perfect and like imperfectly perfect to think that we're the ones that are like really powerful enough. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Like, I think there's something divine going on. It's kind of hard to explain.
Like, who do we think we are? Like, putting on these events, and yet we're putting them on, and people are thirsty for them, and someone just needed to answer the call to make these things happen that are truly impactful and are changing lives. And so, my event, it's called Wave Seattle. It's for women in accounting, and this past May was our first one, and it was just an idea that I threw out there. I threw it on LinkedIn, and people loved it. They supported it by either sponsoring, attending, speaking, and like it ended up being the most perfect day. I keep joking that if I would have fallen flat on my face on the stage, it still would have been perfect. And so it was just something that, I thought, I was tired. I mean, I love traveling, but I have a family and I can't always go to Vegas or Orlando like 5 times a year. So I was like, let me put something on here, see if people will come from Woodinville, like, or, South Seattle. And we ended up having women fly in from 10 states in Canada to make it. And so we already have tickets on sale for next year. We've got 30% sold out 9 months away. So it's something that women are craving, and it's something that I felt called to do in a way that was a gift back to the industry, a way to truly contribute and move the industry forward, but more personally impact people's lives.
Yeah. Beyond, it's so fun. I love vocation and the marketplace. It's such a great breeding ground for connection and impact. Like I kind of think of it like, jokingly obviously, but like as a bait and switch. It's like, yeah, we're gonna talk business, like business. And it's like, no, but like what's really going on in your life?
But like, I need friends.
Yeah, like, right, I need community, I need friends. I need alignment. And for you to do that with just like a answer to a call. And it's funny too, the way that these things happen, whether you want to over spiritualize it or just call it the reticular activation system, but you and I met, and really we didn't have like a huge conversation. It was pretty general interaction in Scottsdale, but I think because I connected so much to Christina and to Travis, and it was like by proxy, we all kind of just like endorsed one another. And then I saw you promote your event, and I reached out to Susan Marie, our chief growth officer, and was like, now that I've been out here more, I realize how foolish I was, because I'm from the Northeast, I'm from Maryland, and states are just close. You can get to New York in 4 hours.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many major cities within driving distance over there.
Right.
Yeah,
And I'm
not
like,
over
yeah, so
here.
this event's in Seattle. Like, what's that, a couple hours from you? And she's like, it's like 7. I'm like, you live 7 hours from Seattle, like in Corvallis, or 6 hours with traffic and 7 with traffic. And I was like, huh, okay, well, never mind. And she's like, we'll go. And I was like, sweet. So Curtis and Susan Marie came up, naturally being a woman's event. She attended. And that just unlocked a connection between you and her, and the larger community. And it's just been really cool. I'm even like real time reflecting on it, how this is all connecting and culminating, because it's fresh. We're talking like weeks and a few months that this has all been um, coming together.
Right? Yeah. And it's been really fun just sharing my feedback from creating my own conference, like on a whim by myself, and, it actually working. So I've been really fortunate to share like
Oh,
the
we've
good
been
and
getting
and the
amazing
yeah.
insights from you. I mean, I call it R&D, not research
Yeah.
and development, but rob and duplicate. So I'm like, and you've just been amazing, because I think that's the mentality, right? Is like,
Yeah.
guys, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Like we
Yeah.
couldn't possibly have everyone there. I mean, to have a scarcity mindset would be insane. It's like, how can we abundantly collaborate and have all ships rise with this tide? So I'm
Yeah.
obviously jelly that I'm not able to attend because I'm a dude.
Well, maybe, sponsor next year and then you can be there because
Oh,
that's
that's
how all the
right. So
dudes
now
were
we're
there
talking.
this year.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
There is a
Yep.
loophole here. Then all right. That's I think you
We
said that to me, but it just
Yeah,
clocked.
we need witnesses of what we're doing anyway, so of our male advocate partners. So
Oh, that's a good point too.
yeah,
That is a good point. I bet you that would even be a good approach from a content standpoint, to be like, hey, let your wife come to this event. Snap out of it. Watch the kids, damn it. Like, you need to let them So yeah, that's how you talk about that. Send me the sponsor packet, because I would be super interested in that. I want to, just as we kind of round third base here today, like, what is the vision now? So you've had this unique background. Something that I think you've alluded to is this. You tell me. I feel like there's been moments in your journey where you've experienced what a lot of us experience, which is imposter syndrome, right? This idea that, well, who am I? I come from a teenage mom. I didn't go get a degree in accounting from a, you know, Ivy League school, or I didn't, like, why am I leading the charge? And I'll get emotional thinking about it, because I love this. Like, God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called, right? Like,
yeah,
and I just did some content about it, and I can be a little brash in the way that I communicate, and some of it's intentional. In fact, I had someone on TikTok go, man, a cursing pastor, this is awesome. And I was like, I'm not a pastor. I was like, I am and it says right on my bio, cursing Christian. I'm like, I'll offend you either way, so I'm working on it, but I just get so passionate about this thing called life that sometimes I got to drop
yeah,
the F-bomb. But like, I love, I mean, if you read the Bible, you can see all these characters that, like, they, like Paul, he wrote like half the damn Bible, and he was literally murdering. He was a serial killer, like an actual
yeah.
serial
Isn't that
killer,
wild? Yeah,
right? And then,
like everyone apart from Jesus is imperfect in the Bible. Like everyone's story is imperfect. Yeah,
right, and not that you were killing people, but like, you may not fit the mold that you
yeah,
see in this industry. I mean, I've entered the industry sort of, there's a story behind that. I won't go into it now, but it was not like entirely planned. It was like, kind of like, yeah, I can be in Scottsdale. And then I was inspired in that moment. And like, there's people coming to my core collective that are from that world and that are speaking. And it's like, I'm not qualified, not even close. So I wanted to speak to that a little bit. Is that
yeah.
something you ever battle with, imposter syndrome?
Ooh, I love this question because part of this question is what I will be speaking on at the event. So here's the thing. I thought for a long time I had imposter syndrome, and I probably did, but I lied recently when I was recording that live recording of the She Counts podcast at Bridging the Gap, the conference we were at in Denver.
I was there.
We had this moment where they asked everyone in the room to raise their hand if they have imposter syndrome. And we were at the end of the recording, you know, it was their show. I was interviewing them, and everyone rose their hand. I did not want to raise my hand, but I was like, we don't have time to unpack why I'm not raising my hand. So I rose my hand, and that wasn't true because I don't suffer from that.
Did you ever?
Know. I lived like 2 lives, right?
Yeah. So you've graduated from this. You've grown through this.
Something shifted in me. I don't know if it was hosting the Wave conference. Mm-hmm. I am so protected from the idea of imposter syndrome. I am filled with confidence that's not cocky.
Yeah.
It's just a confidence that, and this is what I'm unpacking during our time.
This gets me fired up.
My life experiences qualify me. My education qualifies me, but that's not the important thing.
Yep.
My mindset qualifies me. And at the end of the day, life is too damn short to actually care.
Right.
So
that's good.
That's my answer.
Preach. Oh, I have so many thoughts on that. Wow. Yeah, I mean,
and when you stop caring, the world opens up.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot. Like,
and you do that. Like, you are. What did I call you? Like,
you are. You're saying I do this?
Yeah. I called you something. Like, you are unapologetically main character energy, and I love that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when we were in Denver, you were saying that you and it stuck with me. It was I think you were paying me a compliment. If not, I took
it totally is. Yeah.
You said, you know, we were kind of just talking a little bit around this, like being bold, and I think what you had said, you can confirm or deny, but you and Christina had been talking, and you were like, yeah, he just has this like main character energy that, I mean, I toed the line, but I'm not an arrogant asshole. So it's like this,
right,
like just real confidence that, you know, it can teeter.
You're going to be who you are, and not in a way that's like imposing, but like you're not going to hide.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a gift. So yeah.
Right back at you, girl.
That's exactly like how people. I wish more people would feel more comfortable in their own skin and not hide, and just know that their life experiences have led them exactly where they need to be, and just to use, you know, this time now with how they've been equipped to lead their lives and affect and impact others.
Oh, that's good. That's so good. Yeah, I think this event in just 3 weeks, My Core Collective is gonna shatter a lot of those things. I mean, I've been thinking and praying and pondering, like, just that the exact, and I believe this, I just know it, I already know it, like the exact right amount of people, not just from a quantity standpoint, but like who is in the room, particularly as this like debut that we're doing, you know, this sort of launch, if you will, into a series of, and we're actually going to be doing 2 a year, which is ambitious, you know, but we've said this to a spring fall, like we already have our spring 2026 nailed down, and we're looking already at the fall of 2026. And I think it's going to be this moment where people leave so empowered in what I call unbecoming. So it's like there's so much rhetoric and like pressure to become something. And a lot of the times, and it sounds like maybe this is how you landed on the like disposal of imposter syndrome, or that you just were like, no, I'm done with that. Is this like unbecoming? It's like this unraveling, like something that wasn't you in the first place is no longer there. You've let that go. And now you're not an imposter because you don't even have a mask on. You know, you don't have something that's holding you down or weighing you down. You're like, this is it. This is me. and I'm going to do me. I'm going to lead with who I am. And I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
I will make mistakes. I will say dumb things. I mean, I'm infamous for taking my foot and shoving it in my mouth.
You're
Like,
gonna feel that later.
I know, right? I'm not that flexible anymore. my wrestling limber ways have escaped me now in my late 30s. Late 30s. And I think you're embodying that. You're leading with that. You're creating content around that, and you can't even track the inspiration. You can't even track the impact, but I'm sure the feedback loop that you're getting is just like fueling the fire. So I'm pumped for you to rock that stage, and I'm really excited that that's what you're going to be talking about. That I think that's going to be really, really life-giving for people.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I have this friend. He is one of the most confident dudes I ever had him on the podcast a couple times, and I typically will get back to this conversation with him because I'm always like amazed by his confidence. And that's coming from me. I'm a pretty confident dude, I'm going to have my insecurities like we all do, but like, and I just remember talking to him about imposter syndrome one time, and he literally did not know what I was talking about. He was like, what? I was like, like imposter syndrome. Like, have you ever felt like, like you're not qualified to do something, or maybe you have a title or a role? And he was like, no. It's like, Tariq, you're the man. It's like the fact that you don't even know what I just said is the most like.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that energy right now. So yeah.
Vibe on it. And then find sustainability, right? As long as it's coming from the right place and you're building it on solid ground and you're building it in community and you have the people that are like your ride or dies, your A1 from day one, you can go outside that circle. And then the thing that's cool within community I've found is that it like normalizes that set. So like if I go back to even just that first meeting I did with the speaker summit from my office, where I'm like, okay, like this is a collective of movers and shakers, some of which I barely know or don't know at all because I wasn't part of the selection process. And compare that meeting to this morning's meeting. You'd think that we've spent lots of time together and kind of all know each other, but we're using mediums like Zoom to come together for an hour every other week. We're using the podcast to share each other's story. You're phenomenal at going live and being in your stories on Instagram and just like talking about the things that you're doing. And then somehow, like, I don't know, it's this weird energy where like fear dissipates and social awkwardness goes away, and you're kind of like, well, there's a bunch of people trying to figure it out together, so I think that's going to come together really nicely at the event. And you're just getting started, Erin. I'm pumped to be part of your growth and your journey, and I'm just so glad we were able to hang out today. We should have done it in person because I think I'm like literally miles away from you. I don't really know, how far are you from Arlington?
Like an hour.
Nice. Well, I fly out tonight, so I'll probably be coming more towards your way, but I get to see you in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
See
you then. I'm excited. It's going to be so good.
Yeah. Well, you're amazing, and I'm so thankful we got this time today. Any final thoughts from you here today on the My Core podcast?
No, just life is too short. Do something amazing.
Yeah.
Stop living in fear. That's it. Just stop living in fear.
And you teased it out earlier. I started to speak to it. One of the things I don't know, just kind of lives rent free. It's also kind of a cheat code on like when I feel those little butterflies and I go like, do I really want to do this or say this or put myself out there? What will people think? And then I just remember the spotlight effect, which is that everyone thinks the spotlight's on them, but the reality is they're not thinking about you. And one way to just like really take inventory of that I've found is, when's the last time you spent like extended periods of time thinking about another person? Or even down to the level of like gossip. Like if you and a friend got together and you talked about another friend, like how long did that conversation even last? I mean, if you're getting together and talking about another person for 2 hours, you are sick in the head. Like you
Yeah.
need actual help because you're
Like,
living.
they're not the problem. It's actually you.
You're the problem, right?
So, yeah.
So
Yeah.
even if you're doing something that is edgy or, you know, risky, and obviously be prudent and, you know, don't be foolish, but like you
No,
can get,
just be cheeky. It's just fun. It's
yeah.
all fun. Yeah.
So it's like
But
people aren't
yeah.
thinking about you. They really don't care. They're so
Yeah.
selfish. They're
And
thinking
if
about
you think
themselves.
that, you will be humbled. So,
Right.
yeah, just be prepared.
So do it anyway. Do it anyway because
Yeah.
you're called to do it and because it matters. And then it's almost like amazing that equally people are thinking about you. They do care. It does make an impact. And if you think creating that content or starting this podcast, you could just chalk it up to like, who even cares? Why would they want to hear my story or Erin's story or the combination thereof? And it's like, well, that little nugget could be the source of inspiration, energy, encouragement that people need to keep going, you know? So now in your story, we've unlocked within this audience you, right? And now you're part of the fabric of my core, right? And I'm wanting to become part of the fabric of Wave. So now I think I've sponsored, but I am just pumped for all that's going to come. I feel like this event and this sort of moment that we're in this season is the start of something big. So thank you for being you, Erin. I'm pumped to have had this time with you today, and it's going to be great in Eugene in just a few weeks.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Awesome. Bye-bye. God bless.